Good evening. Hope you guys are doing great. Let's get to this. Are you wearing a Maryland Terps shirt? Oh, okay. Justified. No problem. Love it. Thank you. The Broncos jersey, no. Um, but let's get this done. Let's go.
Did you like what you saw?
Yeah, I love that we were challenged, and Utah Tech gets a lot of credit. Obviously you can get greedy and want every possession to go your way, but that's just not reality. You got to be able to ride the wave a little bit and figure out why it's working and figure out why it's not working and make adjustments. So I'm glad that our guys were challenged today. I appreciate Utah Tech for putting up a heck of a fight.
8 turnovers the second half. You finished with just 11, so 3 in the second half. What was the key to it?
Well, maybe just a little smarter decisions. I think in the first half, we tried to make some plays in some tight windows that we probably can turn down, especially early in the shot clock. But a little bit of that just comes with some experience and, getting guys out there and figuring out what works and what doesn't work actually under the lights.
Brayden, is it just a matter of kind of just settling in, and do you feel like he's pushing at times?
For sure. I mean, Brayden is he's obviously a special player and he's a great person. And it's a joy to coach him because he wants to do right by his coach and he wants to do right by his teammates. And so sometimes you tell him something, and he takes it pretty literal. So he's just got to find that fine line between, listening to what we're saying as coaches and trying to figure out what the team needs and playing off his instincts because he's got great instincts as well. But that being said, there's also things to learn that are going to help make the game easier for him and make him more effective, which is really exciting.
Florida foul trouble, tough game.
Great. I mean, he was awesome. He was awesome on the bench. He was excited. We're really working on that. Enjoying your teammates' success is really important. For any culture, and it's easy to say, and it's harder to do. And we're human like anybody else, but we were making a really concerted effort to build in a great culture here, and we got work to do, and in a good way. If we didn't have work to do, I'd be lying to you. So I like where we're at, and I like the experiences we're having, and I think they're great learning opportunities for our guys.
Just a couple games now. What have you learned about kind of the rotation so far that you may go with, or is it still?
Yeah, I mean, I'm figuring it out. Obviously, I'm pretty comfortable with those 8 guys that have been playing. And I don't think Evan's far off, but Evan, I had a good talk with him. Maybe when and where some of his opportunities will come. And, part of this deal is, I feel like I have an obligation to develop some of these younger guys that are going to be in the rotation a little bit more and give them some experience, So, I'm not taking for granted that they're really good, that it's going to come easy. And I don't want it to come easy. Things that are learned, without, friction, without adversity, they're less valuable than things that are earned, with a little bit of struggle. And I honestly 100% believe that. So I appreciate and embrace when those struggles come and do everything I can to try to help our guys navigate it.
Going with that, how important was it to get Sidi in the game there the last
I mean, it's okay. Sidi and I, we have a plan, and we know the plan is in the future for him. But Sidi's, he's gone through a lot of changes in his life in the span of a couple months, and I don't think any of us could do what he's doing. I think we'd all be like back home already, and so I'm really proud of how he's hanging with it, and I can't wait to get on the court with him a little bit more individually here coming up, and now that he's kind of getting sustained practice time, and I think he's going to be a really a great asset to this program in the future.
Are the games by Tobe and Delhi kind of a good example of how you've always mentioned it's not necessarily the 5 that start, but the ones that are finishing?
I mean, you tell me.
Does it fit into that?
For sure. I mean, they played great. I mean, to have the luxury of making a decision that they may not love, but it really gives our team a really unique thrust to bring 2 guys off the bench that are that good and have that much experience. And I mean, to me, I think, if we continue this thing and how it plays out, I think that's going to be a really big advantage for us over the course of the season. I mean, one guy has, finishes with 18 points, and I think, 15 at half? The other guy, finishes with 12 points, 18 rebounds. I mean, it's pretty impressive. I mean, you might need to look that in your statistical almanac to see how often that has happened.
unusual, at least since you've been here, usually you've gone, if it's close call, gone with the veteran guys, the starters. I mean, do you anticipate those guys might?
Bruce, don't put me in a box. My box was like let me cook. A little bit. I don't coach out of a manual. So I coach off of feel and what I think is best for the team, and what we're doing today, we might not be doing in 2 weeks. I don't know. We're going to read and react as things play out.
Can you speak to the strides that you've seen in Dell'Orso's game since the time you got him?
He's so much better, and I think that's maybe why it's hard for him to understand why he started last year and didn't start this year. But the guy that I kind of flipped the starting lineup with last year, I think he's played pretty good this season. This kid, KJ Lewis, is a heck of a player. And I just felt like last year bringing him off the bench just gave us an energy that we needed. And I felt like we needed to start our games with a little bit more shooting. So that was why I made the decision last year. But, I think, the closer a lot of times was KJ. And so Dell's really made improvements in his game. And he took a lot of things to heart last year. And he's just gotten so much more, physically able to play at this level, and so he gets credit. Rounds gets credit. J-Rock gets credit, and like just because he's coming off the bench, doesn't mean his role is going to be lessened. I think his role is going to be more than it was last year for sure.
Feel similar about Tobe as far as improvement? He was honorable mention all league.
Yeah, for sure. Tobe's gotten better, and from my experience with Tobe, he always needs a few games to kind of iron out the kinks a little bit. He missed some practice time with some injuries recently, but he's back going full bore now. If he's working out the kinks and has 12 and 18 and missed a couple layups, I think we're in good shape.
One of the things you mentioned, I remember about Dell'Orso last year too, was just having that ability to spread out a defense. Do you feel like with this way you've got the option with Yvonne, you can do it similarly?
I think Dell'Orso's a better shooter than Yvonne, but I think Yvonne's a really good player too. So I don't need guys to be carbon copies of each other. They all bring something different to the table. And, obviously guys showed Yvonne is, he's a really mature player for his age. And, he obviously showed that Monday night. Today, I think he was fine. We'll go back and look at the film to see and when and where his opportunities can come. But he's a guy that's going to get a lot better in our system as well.
Strong games by Kobe Peat in back-to-back games to start his collegiate career. What has he meant to this team so far?
Well, so far he's a really good player and he's a great guy. I think all his teammates he's easy to root for because he's just a classy person. He got off to a really loud start on Monday, and I think he followed it up with a pretty solid performance is what I was looking for. Koa has enough confidence in himself to know that everything doesn't need to be about him at every moment. And I think that's a really special trait for a young player to have. Koa is a winner. I think every team he's on has a great chance of winning. And I think that was obviously the case for every team he's been on in his life. I think that'll be the case here, and I think it'll be the case in the future when he's playing at the next level.
All right.
All right, hey, real quick, one thing. So I want to thank our fans for coming out tonight. I know maybe in the past some of these games, we played early. The attendance hasn't been so great. And obviously a loud start, probably helps that a little bit. But, we're doing this for the community. And I hope everybody understands that. We understand what our program means to this community and the feelings people have about this program. So last night after practice, I go to play padel, and I play very poorly. And, I'm learning, and it's kind of walked out embarrassed. Not embarrassed, but like, man, this is really hard. I'm struggling at it. And then I go to dinner with my parents who are in town, and, walking out of the restaurant. So, I'm sweaty because I just got done playing, and I'm, tired. It's been a long day, practice, all this stuff. And I'm walking through a parking lot, and a guy chases me down, and I'm like, oh, okay, last thing I want to do is, somebody chase me down and, want a picture or whatever. But he came up to me, and he's like, Coach, thank you. Thank you for what you and your team do for this community. Monday night's game, you brought my family together. my entire family, multi-generations, watched that game together, and it's all my parents could talk about. My 80-year-old dad, it's all I could talk about, and he called me the next day, and he wanted to talk about it again. So that's what we're here for. And I know we all want to talk about fabulous freshmen and rotations and stuff like that, but this program means so much more to this community. I'm thankful for the fans that come out. We're going to embrace it. I hope our fans enjoy this team and enjoy this experience and enjoy the ride, because you know what? It might be bumpy, but it's going to be an adventure, and we need every one of them, and we appreciate every one of them. And I don't want that ever to be. The people think we're taking it lightly, because we don't. For one, that's one. Two, get your ass to the football game tomorrow. The football team's playing great. Okay, I mean, I don't need to say, whatever, they're 2 plays away from being whatever their record is in one, but they're right there. It's homecoming. It's a 1:30 game. It's going to be a beautiful day. Get your ass to that football game and support Coach Brayden. He's doing a hell of a job, and he's a great effing dude who this community needs to embrace. That's all I got.